Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Welcome to the new decade. Happy New Year and Happy New Decade. 2020 is here and 2019 is in the history books. I'm excited to bring you another season of the Real Estate Espresso Podcast in 2020. And if you know someone who wasted 5 minutes yesterday, I'm pretty confident this show would be a better use of their time. Do them a favor and introduce them to the podcast. Show them how easy it is to subscribe to the show. Podcast is available on more than 20 different platforms. Today is the Book of the Month. On the first day of each month, we review the Book of the Month. In order to be considered for Book of the Month, a book has to meet a very simple criteria. It has to be impactful enough that it will change your life or your perspective on the world. And whether it does or not is entirely up to you. You might read the book and comment on what a great book it is, but if you don't internalize the book and make it part of you, you're missing the point. Today's book is a completely different track from books we've reviewed in the past. Today's book is called The Body, A Guide for Occupants by Bill Bryson. Bill Bryson was born in Des Moines, Iowa, and for 20 years he lived in London, England, where he worked for the Times and the Independent, and he wrote for many, both British and American publications. Bill Bryson has written more than 20 books, and his works have been published in multiple languages. His latest book achieved New York Times BestSeller status, and on this day I made the decision to fall prey to the marketing and choose a book off the New York Times bestseller list. Had the book not achieved bestseller status, I probably would not have chosen to read it. The Body is truly a book about how to take care of this vessel that we use and abuse on a daily basis, expecting so much from it. It rarely breaks, requires surprisingly little in the way of maintenance or spare parts. You never have to change the oil or the spark plugs. This mushy miracle we call the body is pretty much taken for granted on a daily basis. The makeup of the body is billions of cells, bacteria, and elements. If you were to purchase the individual components, it would cost under $20 to make a human out of raw elements. The book is written like a user's guide, much like you might get when you purchase a new barbecue or a new car. It shows all the different systems, how to interpret the different warning signals on the dashboard, and how to check the tire pressure. Some drivers know how to use the windshield wipers, but they don't know how to refill the washer fluid. This book goes into all the different parts of the body and gives you a tour of the various systems. The book is organized into 23 chapters, with each section dealing with a different part of the system. There's an entire chapter devoted to bacteria and microbes, an entire chapter devoted to sleep. There's a chapter devoted to nerves and pain, an entire chapter dedicated to the alimentary system. Did you know we swallow nearly 2,000 times a day, about once every 30 seconds, fully unaware of the 50 muscles involved in the intricate dance required to force food or drink from your throat down into the stomach? Why do we choose to chew some foods for a long time and yet allow others to slide down our throat without hardly grinding our teeth? Why do some parts of our body itch and others not? Why would you scratch your head but not your spleen? Even in the late 19th century, it was thought that the male or female decision was not the result of chemistry, but by external factors like diet or temperature, perhaps a woman's mood during the first trimester of pregnancy. For a little over a century, it was believed that the X and Y chromosome were responsible for choosing sex during the gestation process. In fact, it wasn't until 1990 that two teams in London identified the sex-determining region of the Y chromosome. We had sent men to the moon and back, but we still didn't know where boys and girls came from. How many of you know the difference between a tendon and a ligament? Do you know that the body is made up of roughly an equal number of body cells and bacteria? Apart from the dozens of trivia facts like this about the body, maybe useful for a party trick, I found myself appreciating the various systems hard at work, mindful of what they do because of what I do on a daily basis and despite what I do on a daily basis. If you want to learn more about this thing we live in called the human body that we take for granted, check out The Body, A Guide for Occupants by Bill Bryson. I came away from this book with a greater sense of awareness of this miracle I live in, and on this New Year's Day, I'm going to transfer a few thousand bacteria, some protein, and some water to my wife and give her a big sloppy kiss. Have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.